Dun, 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 dun.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Wes. I am painting in ink today, a live oak as the subject matter. I'm not really looking at a reference photo here. I've painted enough of these types of trees and have seen enough to know pretty much how they're structured and what they look like. So I'm just going on memory and instinct here. I'm using a very light wash. This is all with India ink, which is a permanent ink, which means once the ink is dried on the paper, you can't take it back off again. Like with watercolor, you can go back in with water and pull some of the pigment back off of the paper, but with India ink, once it's dried, it's on there. So I wanted to start with that very light wash, where there was very little stakes, and anything I put over it would kind of correct anything under it, the light stuff. Not to pure white, but it made it to where I could suggest the tree, like the shadow of the tree, before I went in with this darker layer of ink. So I wasn't totally sure here on how I was going to form the leaves and the branches, whether I was going to stick with a more realistic approach or more abstract or artistic version of the tree. On the right side, I started doing these little loop-de-loos with the paintbrush, but then I kind of abandoned that, although I like the look of that, those little loops, little hoops, and keeping the brushwork light and tendrily. But I didn't do a lot of that. I ended up going a different way. So, as with a lot of water media, when you're putting down the ink, it's much darker than after it dries. It kind of dries lighter than you think it will. I think when it's pure pigment without water added, it'll be a little more true to that dark value. But most of this, I have at least some water added to the ink. So you'll see in the next transition, which is coming pretty soon, I leave it alone and let it dry, and then when it comes back, everything's lighter again, and that's the reason why. It just had time to dry and lighten up. So, as I'm painting, I'm just thinking of what the painting needs next, what needs to be made to look better as I go. So I'll leave certain sections that are more finished and go to other sections which need more work and work on those. And right here I'm about to the transition. Now it's a lighter painting because it's all dry. And here I thought I'd try out dripping some paint on there and then blowing, using a current of air from my mouth to get these little straight offshoots of ink. Something I think it's got a cool look to it, and that's kind of what I was going for. It's very directional, so if it's not natural for a branch to go in whatever direction I send it, it won't look correct, and it would be obviously wrong. So I tried to direct it in the right direction, so to speak. as much as I could. I was also worried because I've got this goatee on my chin that every time I got down to blow close to the paper, I was going to rub my chin whiskers right up against the paper, but I think I managed to go without a mess on this one. So here, yeah, I'm just darkening the areas that I think should be darkened. You know, a lot of times you'll have masses of leaves that get the sun on the top and that's shadowy at the bottom. So in general, that was my thinking as I'm adding more darks, is you'll see me do it on the undersides of different boughs of leaves. But in the end, it's mostly just instinct and trying to do what looks right for the painting. It's the middle of the middle of October now, and ever since I found out about Inktober, I've been trying to do a few ink drawings and ink paintings, and I've also thrown in a little watercolor again to try out. There's something about it I do enjoy. It's a lot quicker and more easy to access than getting out a whole thing of acrylic paint. So I'll be doing more of these in the future. At the very least, some sketches and things. So I did a little more after filming. You'll see it's a little taller in the finished photo here. But I think it turned out well. I appreciate you stopping by. I think that's about it for today. See ya.